Are there any public comments? Moving down. Ellie?
You guys know.
Good.
First, I just want to say, you know, this is nothing personal. You know, it's kind of learning on all our aspects here as we move forward. I've been doing some research. No, I just gave you, is what I've been looking at as far as your guys' responsibilities as county commissioners. Very interesting. It does state in here that the primary legislative powers of the board is prosecuting and defending all actions for and against the county. Page 1 right at the bottom. I did FOIA Jacobson's pay, just out of curiosity. I did see it's a $700 or a $975 retainer every month. He's already made $150 extra off this case, and stands to make an undisclosed amount at this time. I'm working on getting the FOIA in for that after pre-trial. Now, with that being said, you know, I'm still trying to figure out where the initiation of this lawsuit starts. Who authorized it?
You know, this has been going on for quite a while, and there is litigation currently, so that restricts how much we really should talk about it. And each one of us commissioners has the obligation to talk as we choose to. The lawsuit, it's very clear, was initiated by the attorney and by the zoning administrator. So, you know, and we appoint the planning commission. You know,
yes.
You've asked us that before. That, you know, we've tried to explain that. Beyond some of these issues, have you ever went to the zoning board of appeals?
No.
To appeal the decision that was made by the zoning administrator?
No.
And
I don't feel I should have to. I'm here in front of the power of the county.
But we have a planning commission and a zoning board of appeals that's appointed to look at some of this stuff. And that's currently the way that we're organized.
They're not the decision makers. They're just there for reference.
I don't know.
An opinion.
They bring them back to us, you know, if they have anything outstanding, and you're right to some degree, but this board would end up stepping on their toes. And again, this issue hasn't, I don't know that this has ever came up before, this particular way, and we need to learn from this. But
like I said, this is education on all parts. You know, obviously I've learned a lot. There's a lot, you know, in the county workings that I never understood.
I don't recall the few years I've been here where we've had a decision made by the planning commission or zoning board of appeals, and then we overrule them, or I don't recall that ever happening. It may have, but I'm not. I don't.
well, you know, and to me, we have a zoning ordinance, and you know, let's face it. You know, your particular case is mud bogs. That, you know, when do you have mud bogs? Not during the week. They're on weekends, holidays. It's a community thing, I agree. Does it really make or break the bank? Not really. But my point of this whole thing is it's complaint driven. And I know you say that there's only one complaint filed, maybe, and I would challenge that. You know, and I haven't FOIA'd everything myself. But let's face it, our zoning administrator don't work weekends or holidays, so he's not out driving around looking for this stuff, you know. So at the end of the day,
Well,
you know, I grew up in a family of 5, and I'm the oldest. And I remember growing up, my parents, there was very little to no regulation. And then at one point, you know, there's a couple more kids involved, and you have limits on how long you can take showers and how much food you can eat and what you can do. And that's because the population in our family grew. And it's a lot like this. When there's 15 people back in the 1800s, maybe we don't need so much regulation. 26,000 people now, maybe we need a little bit more. When it doubles and triples in the summer, we maybe need a little bit more. But at the end of the day, we all need to work together. We have to live together as families. And I appreciate the fact that you're coming back, you're doing the research, and we're certainly listening. All eyes and ears are open for me. It's a learning curve for everybody. I sympathize with you. But, you know, we need to get through this together somehow.
Right? You know, and you bring up the planning commission, you know, and I see a lot of power being turned over to the planning commission. And now the zoning board of appeals, you know, I mean, this is, we elect you guys to make the decisions on our behalf. Not to appoint others to do so. And that's how I feel. The power lies with this board. You know, as I mentioned the last time I was here in front of you, everything funnels through this board. And, you know, I mean, Commissioner Whittington, I appreciate the questions you asked the last time. You seem to be interested in it. I see your 4 property rights. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time y'all have taken to listen to. And to my leaseholders and everybody else on this. You know, it's a long road. But, you know, I've been told by the chairman that you guys don't have the power to do anything about this. You know?
If I may, well, I've still got a train of thought.
Okay.
We as a board, some things we can do and we can't do. The planning commission is just like a township planning commission, you know, they're looking ahead, trying to keep things going like they're supposed to. And I'm going to use your case as an example. You know, you run into a snag with them, but I think, I just heard you mention you had not appealed it to the zoning board of appeals.
No, we haven't.
Okay. But that, I guess that would be my next step, I would suggest. You may not like it, you know, I mean, you may, but we are like the last resort here. You know, I mean, seriously, we as commissioners don't have the time to oversee every committee that we have. That's quite obvious. I know it's not like that. But I don't know if I'm making sense to you, but I would hope that, you know, that you would utilize the.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to, you know, even want to go somewhere else after the treatment I got with the planning commission. I mean, Josh said he's seen the video. I mean, I urge you, get a hold of Josh. Josh, get the video for you. You know, you guys appoint that board, and if you see what I seen, and it made you feel the way I feel about it, you won't want nothing else to do with that.
You know,
I wanted to bring this to the commanders in chief.
Again, I don't think, I'm not trying to shuffle blame on somebody. What I'm saying is, you did the job of the planning commission, and you don't agree. The zoning board of appeals, I don't know how they may, I don't know what they might come up with. But for us to go in, I think, this is my own personal opinion, but for us to go in at this point and overrule the planning commission, I don't know that that's really their job. Maybe it is.
Well, I just give you a packet on your roll, you know, and everywhere I research,
This is a good.
you know, every bit of research points me right back here.
It ultimately does, but we distribute those and organize the committees.
That's my point.
And so for us to sit here and, you know, we can micromanage it, and we should. We've seen some issues. At least I'll speak for myself. I saw some issues, the way this is being handled now, that I don't love. you coming here and talking to us and us talking to you, I think is good. We can review those as we move on. It's pretty tough. I mean, I talked with Jacobson the other day. I know that there's a letter sent to your guys' attorney. Once again, there's, you know, we're still trying to work with you. It's not like we're not trying to work with you through your attorney or anything, you know.
All right, well, at the same time, the longer this goes on, the more money it's costing us as taxpayers, and the more money it's costing me and my family. Because just as much money, actually probably more money than what the county's spending is coming out of my pocket on my end. You know, and I'm not gonna quit it. I'm not gonna quit it. I'll sell off everything I got to fight this.
Plus, I don't blame you there, I mean.
Right. You know, my family's being put in an awful predicament over this. And the county is being put in an awful predicament over this. You know, and you know, you challenged the fact on the complaints. I urge you to go over there and look. I'm sure the file's probably still sitting on the filing cabinet right where I found it. You know, easy access.
Well, I
It
know-
seems to be a pretty
I know there was
used
plenty.
file.
There was plenty of complaints coming through here, and that was mentioned in some of the meeting minutes, the committee meeting minutes that were voided before. And that's the only way, I mean, I couldn't even remember back to 2010,
Right.
you know what I mean, until I was reading those minutes. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, this is a learning curve.
Right.
It's not perfect by any means, but,
You know, and my point is this is a group of 5. Okay. Anyone can make a motion, take a vote to settle and be done. I mean, I can't wait to see this letter. I really can't. Because that would be the first, you know, we get anything towards that from Jacobson. So I look forward to seeing that. But, you know, I just strongly wish, you know, as I said, you're our commanders and chiefs. You're the bottom line, not a last resort. You're not. This board is what runs the whole county. And if micromanaging is what it takes, that's what's got to be done. You know, I've been down all the avenues, you know, thus far. I don't like the road that's there, obviously, you know. And it's not for a decision that they had made or anything like that. It was the actions. Okay, I want to make that clear. The actions that we got from some of the commissioners that you guys appointed on that planning commission, very rude. As I said last meeting, I'm glad you guys aren't wearing your hats and disrespecting our room here. You guys aren't yelling at the public, and I appreciate that. I mean, in the last 2 times I've been here, we've gotten farther than we ever would have gotten with the planning commission. But all I'm looking for is for the true power of the county to say something, do something, make a motion. This can all be settled right here. We've submitted a memorandum. You've read it, I'm sure. I don't know if the rest of you guys have read it or if it just got forwarded right over to Jacobson or whatnot. But, you know, obviously I was denied. This here I still said, you know, I believe
but you
in...
took, not to interrupt, but did you take that memorandum to the planning commission?
Yeah.
And that was the meeting that kind of...
Actually, I believe the memorandum, actually I did. Thinking about it. Yeah, we had the memorandum on it there. And it wasn't 2-3 days later we got our denial.
So you got an official denial from the planning commission
Yes.
after you...
Yeah. You know, and see, that right there tells me that you guys aren't in touch with what's going on. And that concerns me. That really does. That's one of my big concerns, is there's stuff going on in the county that this board set up. And like I showed you right there, you guys are responsible for all prosecution, all defense in the county name. The county name's who's suing my wife. They threw me off the stand. They, been there, been married for 10 years, been there 12.
You know,
But,
the problem, and I can only obviously speak for myself, the only problem that I see here is if we did as you suggested, just take a vote and say yes, no, what have you, the repercussions, I think, would come back to bite us in the butt. I mean, if we overrule, if you will, the planning commission or the zoning board of appeals, I'm not sure that is our job.
I believe it is. I do. All the research I've been doing, it all points here. The zoning administrator works for you guys. The planning commission works for you guys. The zoning board of appeals works for you guys. You know, you guys not long ago had a vote not to pay the judge's secretary because he didn't follow proper channels. Am I right? Now, this is kind of the same thing. Proper channels is this should have been brought in front of this board before this litigation even started. And when we first come here, we heard that you guys knew very little about this. Okay. That being said, is saying that the proper channels aren't being followed. You guys should have known every bit of this before it even initiated, before it even started. Okay? You know, and you guys are asking for more money, and this is getting hard, watching money go right down the toilet and this, and then you guys want more. I'm sorry, I can't support that. I can't, just to put that out on the table. That you guys control everything. And if you took a vote to overrule the planning commission, you're doing your job. Okay? I'm not asking for everybody to say, yeah, let's settle this or on the vote. It's your opinion. That's what you're here for. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm not, you know, I can weigh in on my opinion. My opinion is this should have started as a vote before it even got started. The county attorney works and is paid for by this board. Anybody disagree with that? So for him to take up a lawsuit in the county name that this board is responsible for it without this board knowing it. Now, I own a business, and I know that if one of my employees went and, you know, filed a lawsuit and in my business name, I'm responsible for that. You guys are responsible for this. Whether it's a vote to settle it and nobody agrees with it, that's fine. All I'm asking is for the vote so that we know where every one of you stand. We can see the county working in the form it should under the laws that our government's given us, under the Constitution of Michigan. And I've been researching this since this started, you know, and I non-stop research. I love it. This is great, you know, we're educating each other. But we have, you're all telling me go to the planning commission, we have a path you need to follow. Well, the path we needed to follow with this lawsuit was this should have been brought to the board. Okay, that's my big concern. We cannot have stuff like this going on without the board knowing. That's killing finances right there.
Well, one of the paths that's missing is going to the zoning board of appeals too.
That's
The way we're currently structured, and you know how that was missed and how nobody mentioned that to you, I don't know. But you know, typically if
it's been
somebody's
mentioned, but
you know, somebody's denied for whatever reason by the planning commission, then typically they have to go to the zoning board of appeals and
which is another appointed board by this board.
And those appointed boards are to try to keep the politics so to speak, out of that. So it's not a Democrat or Republican, it's people in the community that live with you guys, that maybe your neighbors, that sit on those boards. You know, and we just had openings, and I'm telling you, I don't know how many of you guys have been out to township meetings trying to find somebody to sit on those boards. It's hard to fill them. So the next time it comes up, you know, we'll let you know. And
I'm easy to get hold of. It's not like I'm doing anything else. In all honesty.
we'll certainly watch this. I mean, personally, I've been watching this really close. I've put a lot of time into this.
You know, the problem here, I think, that everyone has a little input. If we bypass the planning commission and the zoning board and did this on our own, those two boards, there would be no need to even have them existing. It would be, everything would be coming directly to this board. And I with all due respect to you and the problem you're going through, I don't know what the answer is here. But without going through the entire process, I don't know that it would really be wise of us to vote yes, no, or otherwise, when we have these committees in place that's supposed to be doing the legwork for us. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's, I don't know if we were to do that and override what the planning commission has done. I think I know what the end result would be. We would be looking for some new planning commission.
And after the disrespect I seen at that planning commission, that would be a beautiful thing. It really would be. You know, you know, I kind of surprised to hear that coming from you, Commissioner Whittington, after our last meet, you saying on record that you were against county zoning right from the get. You know, and the planning commission and the zoning board of appeals and that whole chain all stems from the county zoning. So,
and you're correct, I did make that statement, I made it over a number of years.
right,
I've always been in favor of township zoning.
yes.
I thought that that's where it should originate, because what's good for one township doesn't necessarily mean it's good for
Exactly.
another township. But we're stuck with it.
You know, now if, in saying that, then if you were to override the planning commission, and as you say, there wouldn't be no use for them, no. Well, without county zoning, there's no use for them anyway.
There's a couple different avenues that we all need to think about, and that is the quote-unquote county zoning. Does county continue to be involved in this status quo, or does the townships take that back? Because we do have maybe less than a handful of townships-ish that do their own zoning currently, and
Now, see, and you also said the last meeting, Josh, was that the county implementing zoning in these townships is costing the county money.
well,
You know,
especially when
which
this
is-
kind of stuff comes up, it's, you know,
Right.
there's no way to break even, there's no way to forecast what may or may not happen, you know.
Well, there is ways to forecast it by looking at past court cases through various counties and states and stuff.
But there's no way to forecast what issues
Right.
may come up, you know, that's the problem. This time it's tied up a lot of resources and it's starting to tie up a little cash, and we've got just, you know, at this point.
And we're just getting started. We are.
We're either just getting started, or hopefully we can come to an agreement here very shortly.
Well, I look forward to seeing this letter. I really do. And I can sincerely hope that it ain't too far out of line. So, I appreciate your time.
May I ask, where are you at now, or where are we at now with the suit, if you will?
Okay, we go into court again on October 8th. It was postponed from the 8th of this month, or the 5th rather. our attorney got called to federal court, so there was nothing he could do about it. So we'll be back in the 8th of October at, I believe, 9:15, for motion hearing, settlement hearing, and pre-trial. And, you know, pretty much that's the last hope of the county trying to save money right there. Because once it goes past pre-trial, Jacobson starts back in money. And if my mediator was right when he went in for the mediation, he was told by Jacobson that it was $75 an hour. I sure hope that that ain't correct for the county's sake, but if it is, so be it. I mean, you know, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to save the county money. You know, Josh, you did ask for the memorandum, you know, and I know there's a couple points that you didn't like in it, but it was pretty much set up to where something we could all agree on. And I mean, after the action of the planning commission where it got turned, I mean, I don't think that was the right move, was to send it to the planning commission. I mean, power's here. You guys are the boss. You're the commanders in chief, and I'll keep coming here. You know, I mean, we'll keep educating each other, and we'll keep moving forward. There's a lot more than just this case out there that's going on. You know, we all know this. You know, and like I said last time, everybody's coming to me with the problems on them. And if in fact that the county implementing zoning on certain townships is starting to cost the money, well, maybe the county needs to look at it from that point of view. You know, because without the county zoning, we don't have the planning commission. I don't know what they get paid, but same with the zoning board of appeals. I'm sure I could FOIA that and find out. You know, but it sounds like there'd be a great savings of money right there.
Well, that's no big secret. I can tell you right up front, I think they get $25 per deal.
Okay. You know, and even at that, you know, and I know they've had the motion and voted to only meet 3 months a year. I believe it was June, July, and August, unless the chair's discretion. You know.
Is there, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, it seems like each township pays us $3,500.
That's what
Yeah.
Gladwin Township pays.
Yeah, so I think we'll call it $3,500. And
There was
then,
one township that was refused, just in case of it, to participate.
It, sometimes it's penny wise, pound foolish. In other words, why not just take to solve the issue by paying for the cost of the special use permit and deal with it, see?
One of its beliefs, second of all the money, you know, it's just like it's been brought up to me 100 times over. Why don't you just rent the fairgrounds? Rent the fairgrounds from us. It ain't the same. It ain't. Josh will tell you that. He's been to both. You know, it's not the same environment.
I know.
You know, it's, you know, and yes, I choose not to go that route.
Yeah.
I will put that up. I choose not to go that route. You know, I don't feel I should have to pay money to use my land, you know.
I see.
You know, it's just.
And you got a Tom Petty attitude too. You ain't gonna back me. Stand me up to the gates of hell and you won't back down.
Damn straight. But I do appreciate the time and the questions. I know you guys have a lot to do and a lot to think about. But I will say that, you know, this should have been voted on before the season took off.
none of your statements have fallen on deaf ears as far as I'm concerned. And we're all listening and, you
Yes,
know.
and I appreciate that.
There's not gonna be immediate relief of any way. I don't know how to make that happen. By
Well,
myself,
I give you some good paperwork to start. Yeah, I did.
but
The first step is realizing your true power here is the board. Okay.
I know what our
That's what I
powers
want you
are,
to do.
but then those powers get delegated,
And that's
when
where
you're
the
trying to
problem lies.
and we're agreeing on that.
So,
But that's the way we're currently structured, so we need to look at that, you know. But for us right now, to give you immediate relief, that's what I'm more concerned about and how that happens. We need to work together and make that happen. So, is there anything else for Mr. Miller? John?
I'd like to make a comment.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you, board.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just take up a couple of minutes, and I thank you. And for the record, just to clarify a couple of things. One, the doctrine of primary jurisdiction, the court of original jurisdiction is the agency, which is the county board of commissioners. And I will get you a copy of that doctrine so you can read what that has to say. Second of all, the ordinance indicates pretty clear that may is not shall. You may apply for a special permit or any kind of permit. It's not shall. So you have to look at that. And may is not shall. And that's in the ordinance. Number three is that Public Act 360, 1996, I believe it is, the Administrative Procedures Act, is part of what the county is required to do. And it's pretty clear that you have to have a finding of facts, a conclusions of law, and a final determination before it can go to appeal. None of those things have been done prior to the issuance of a lawsuit to the leaseholders and to Mrs. Kelly. So there's been a big step there that had been missing by the zoning board. I think you need to maybe pull that up and read that, get a little familiar with the Administrative Procedures Act. And as far as the structure, yes, I would agree that there is a communications gap between commissions and the board. And again, zoning is the death of property rights, and we've got to look at what property rights are. And if your neighbor can tell you that you've got to have this in your house or not that in your house, or you can do this, or you can't have this party, or how many people can come, or how many cars you can have, or whether you can park on a public road. And to clarify that, another point was that the information, the memorandum, I believe, was presented to the zoning board for information, but there's never been anything from the zoning board itself, the commission, all right, back to us because we haven't applied. We didn't want to apply. There has been a stip and order submitted to the county attorney to have this dismissed along with the memorandum of understanding of things to happen. And that is a kind of a nutshell of where this stands. And I believe I can talk for the Millers as well as myself as a leaseholder on that property, is that anything short of a reasonable solution based on the injunctive relief that the county is looking for is absolutely against all of our mindsets as far as property rights. And I really would hope that this board would take a look at that and come up with a motion and a resolution on what to do with it. And it has the power to do that under the doctrine of primary jurisdiction, the court of original jurisdiction. It's right here, gentlemen. And I thank you, unless you have some questions.
Well, some of what you've said, I agree, although, you know, I really question what Gladwin Township's thought is on this whole thing. I mean, we're enforcing this for them, the way I see it. They're paying us to do a job. How do you feel we're doing at the end of the day? So I want to have a conversation with them on that, because that's another gap that I have in my brain, trying to fill all these holes.
Well, and when I looked at some of the Gladwin Township minutes, I would have a question as to whether, other than the payment, the Township of Gladwin has ever approved via vote a continuation and payments to the county for zoning. There's a question there. The way it was written, you know, maybe an attorney can say that yes, because they're paying it, they've acquiesced. But I think that in some cases, the opposite side of that coin would be is that the township board should have made a resolution and voted on a continuation of the contract.
Like
But,
each year or something?
Pardon?
Like each year, instead of just an automatic continuation?
well, there was only one vote ever taken, and there was never a continuation. I don't believe there's ever been an authorization by the board, if I looked at their FOIAs, to even pay the county for zoning. So, you know, there's questions there, and I think you should discuss this with the township and see where they're setting. They have an attorney as well, so, you know, maybe that attorney can come up with an answer and at least give you the opportunity and the township to review whether they have really authorized the continuation of zoning. It's a big question.
Okay. I'm on it.
Good. Any other questions?
No, I just appreciate the information.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Anybody else? Public comments? Come on, Larry Miller, you don't want to talk?
I'm just here to say hi.
All right.